I want to shoot a video here on the Algo IQ scalp dots trading. We do have within the automated strategy the ability to trade the MOM signals, which is momentum burst trades. We also have within the same strategy a mode that you can select the automated strategy with all of its features to trade scalp dots instead. So let's just say somebody's trading the 8:32 U.S. Central Time period going forward from 8 a.m. to 8:32. That 2-minute window I typically avoid. Some traders wait for the first 15 minutes to play out and then trade automated. I get that. That's fine. In the end, you can do whatever you want. I just never have the strategy start looking for setups at 8:30. Now, if somebody's on something that's super optimized, you could theoretically be trading this style around the clock 24 hours a day. You'd obviously want to be on higher time frames and have the tools and the overall approach optimized. In this case, I'm purposely showing this first. This is a morning where the market was a bit choppy out of the open. So the very first aqua or cyan colored dot, you'd be long. So, and I'm showing you this on purpose. This is why you want to get in and work on getting to settings, either that we provide or settings that you've optimized. So you'd be long, and then, so basically you're playing from dot to dot to dot to dot to dot, back and forth. So it's kind of like playing pinball. But in this case, initially, the first signal after the 8:32 kind of time window, U.S. Central Time, you'd be long, then you'd be short, then you'd be back to long, then you'd be back to short, then you'd be long. So in the end, you're hitting some chop, but you're actually not doing that bad. So that was a scratch trade. Being short to long, that was a loser. Small loser from long back to short, that's a small loser. But in this move alone, you could have easily negated the two losses. And I pay attention to this. If I see a market choppy out of the open and I'm doing something like scalp dots trading, the buttons that are up on the chart for the automated, if I'm in some chop and then I see on one move, I'm getting back positive and I'm getting some positive P&L, just hit the flatten button. And then the next trade that fires off, it's almost like you're starting all over again. Or just leave it on. In this case, you were long, you made money, then you were short, made a little money, then you were long, and so on. So eventually, you could have worked to a daily profit objective, because in all of this trade action, you would have come out of this just fine. And then you get the bigger picture moves, later part of the day. Now, my idea is not to be trading until 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the afternoon Central Time. So I know if I would have been in this activity and then I had this big move, I would just be looking to be done on the day and take my $400, $500, $600 on the day and call it good. Now that's like one of the worst days you could typically encounter. Now let's go into settings real quick, and then I'll get into some other days. I'm on a 7712 Ninja Renko. You could use Unirenko. You can use Ninja Renko. You can use Livewire Renko, Renko BXT, some of the other Renkos up there. The key is this type of trading is done on symmetrical Renkos. Renkos that have an angular and symmetrical shape to them for the Algo IQ settings. And then we go into the indicator settings. This is just one example. There's hundreds of settings that will work. So on this particular setting, I'm in the 19.0 MA2. The key is the step sizing. And I'll show you some examples, but I'm on a 35, better formula. I've got these first 6 regions colored, the last 4 transparent. I don't like price markers, and so on. So that's the settings I'm showing in this example. It's kind of a starting point. You can make it more lagged, or you can add more step sizing. If you do that, you could even get rid of a period like this where this would just be a down move. You wouldn't have this little bounce back and forth. It would look more like this. That's the beauty of step sizing. Step sizing is an endpoint smoothing that can help you minimize noise. So once you get your length setting on the indicator and you like the length, periods like this you can optimize out so it would stay long the whole time until you get a short and so on. That's totally up to you. Okay, now let's go look at another day. Okay, here's the next day out of the 8:32 U.S. Central Time window. You're long, then you flip to a short. So that was a loser and you're done. Okay, let's go to the next day. There was a signal at 8:31 and change that didn't qualify. We don't look for signal till 8:32. You were short, then you were long, then you're short, and you're done. So 3 trades and done. Second trade was a partial loser. Even if you stayed in, you had another partial loser, then another big run. Then from here to here was a scratch, another big run, and then it was ping pong, chop city. But this is a very substantial down move, so I don't know why it'd still be trading later in the day. Now, if you do go on higher time frames, doing the same thing, you could literally be in trades where it would be like you trade from here to here, then somewhere in here you'd get a long signal, then somewhere in here you get a short signal, somewhere in here you get a long signal. I mean, you just basically be hitting the bigger picture structural moves. So that is what we're doing here. We're using step sizing as an endpoint mechanism to trade. Oh, hit a target on some shorts. Okay, so 8:32 the next day, had a short signal, probably done. If you stayed in the trade, you had a long and a short, small loser, then another run, and so on. Now let's go around, let's take a day, like right here, let's take a day and let's play with the smoothing just so you can see the overall effect of working with some of the different options. Like, let's say we want to optimize out these little like movements here. Like, hey, I just want to be short and I want to ride this down. I understand I might catch a little bit of long. That'll be a loser, then short. And I want to see if I can minimize this in here. It's really easy. Just go into the indicator, or you can use, you can optimize with third-party tools. NinjaTrader's optimization is okay. It's not the best. So let's go into indicators. And let's say, hey, I might not be able to minimize all of this. And this is later part of the day. I should be done already. Now, if you want to minimize that and you just want to catch the bigger picture structural moves, that's not hard. Just bump up your time frame. Go to a higher time frame. The symmetrical Renkos will naturally absorb moves like this. So literally the whole day, up to this point would look like one big gigantic down move. So you're only then catching the bigger picture structural moves. And that's a really good way to do position trading or swing trading. Hang on, I'm in a trade that's running pretty hard in my intended direction here. I'm going to make sure I have bled out the position size I want bled out. Then we'll come back and take a look at this. Yeah, I threw a trade on this diamond. I'd hit this earlier. I put another trade on, kind of have an M pattern in here. So anyhow, that's looking fine. Let's go now and pull that chart back up and we'll take a look. This is the river, something I'm testing in its rough draft form. I don't have it completed yet, but testing all kinds of different settings and stuff. That's part of the pivot point trading program. And anyhow, so far so good on that and testing. Let me go pull our chart back up with the Algo IQ program Scalp Dots approach. Okay, so I can go into the indicator and I can go into the indicator itself. Remember, if I change the period, I'm lagging the indicator. I'm making the indicator move farther and farther right from price, and it's lagging the oscillations of price. Another way, I give you endpoint smoothing and I give you multiple moving average types. I can negate stuff like this through endpoint smoothing. Let's go to like a 40. I'll jump up in increments of 5. Let's go to 45. See, we almost have that out. 50. And there we go, it's gone. So you can go in and either in period, now my entries will get lagged a bit, make them even later. But if I'm only trying to catch some of the bigger picture moves during the intraday, I don't mind that a little bit if I'm minimizing a range of flips back and forth. Now the key is the flips back and forth aren't necessarily bad if, for the instrument and your time frame on, your flip points back and forth are about a scratch all the time. I can get a chart really dialed in where I might have some periods where I have some flipping back and forth, but the flip point from one long entry back to a short, let's say I'm flipping back and forth, and I'm getting scalp dots, I can optimize so that the flip points are about equal. So even if I get a period of some cyclical oscillations, I can come out of it where I don't really lose that much. Then I'm already catching the bigger picture moves just fine. So a little of the pinball action isn't going to kill me. I'm telling you, there are some wondrously amazing settings on Scalp Dots trading. I'll just leave it at that. I've always known that. I knew I would add it at some point, but the mom signals is a nice, cut and dry, very concise and smart approach to trading, and that can be done on many time frames too, not just intraday. I got guys are doing mom signals on like almost swing trading, and they're like, I never knew it'd work for this. I'm like, yep. So anyhow, I just want to show you what the endpoint smoothing would do. Let's say if I jumped up all the way up to like a 75, what would happen? So you can see it's getting more boxy and so on. Now let's say if I change the moving average. These two moving averages, each one is very unique and they're very different from each other. Let's go to MA1. And then, you can see it's, we have a long, you'd get long after the open. That would be a loser. You flip to short, nice big move. Then you're long, flip to short, that'd be a loser, nice big move. Not a lot of ping pong action. Let's move this down to we'll start at a 20. Now in this one, I can see that the 19 is a little bit lagged. The indicator is a little bit far to the right of price. Let's go down to like a 15. And then I'll add the endpoint smoothing. This looks a little bit better. But again, you can really, I'm giving you multiple axes of adjustability and two moving average. And the moving averages are very, very unique, not old school garbage. So let me go down to even like a 11. Like really tighten the indicator up on price. Now I could go in with endpoint smoothing and get rid of my ping pong action, if you know what I mean. Let's go 35. Like something like this, no need to be going back and forth, long and short. So you just it's kind of like a Rubik's Cube. You keep working with it till you in general see periods that would typically kick your ass, not kick your ass. Does that make sense? Some people say, well, you're curve fitting. Well, yeah, you're doing manual optimization work to get something that looks good. Okay, let me work with it here a bit. Okay, so let's say I get on settings that I feel, okay, pretty dialed in, but I'm still seeing a little bit of ping pong action. You can go in and massage up the time frame a bit. So I'm on a 77.12. let's go to like a 85. Let's go to a 85 13. I like ratios of about anywhere from 1 to 5 between the brick size and the trend threshold to about no more than 1 to 7 ratio. So in other words, this number is somewhere between 1/5 of that number or 1/7. So let's hit OK there. We'll let that load up. So in other words, I'm going to use bumping up the time frame, and you could do it incrementally till certain moves like this get cleaned up. Let's recenter that. Let's get it back to that period of time. And you can see, was I still okay out of the open? Did I catch? Yeah, I had a short, then hit a long to a short that was a loser. Could have been done then on that run of price. But I mean, if you're really worried for some reason about, oh, if I get in some wild oscillation period, I want to minimize that out, then that's the process. You work with the indicator on the time frame to get it dialed in, and if you're really, really close, sometimes the best thing to do is leave the indicator alone, but go up on your time frame. So let's go to like a 90 and a 15, and I wouldn't really go any higher than there for intraday trading. Sometimes I found out too to go lower on the time frame, but then lag the indicator a bit, and I can get some really dialed in stuff. Now I have some traders that are down on like 19, 20, one's on a 22, one's on a 33. They're on some low brick sizes, but they've hyper dialed in the indicator. And what they're trying to do is just really quick catch the moves out of the open, catch a nice chunk out of every little oscillation, then boom, they're done. You can absolutely do that with scalp dots trading. There is a whole cave of gold here in scalp dots trading. You just got to be willing to take your pickaxe, go in there and pick at the rock. There's wondrous setups. I'm just kind of getting you, seeing what the possibilities are. Okay, let's go up in time frame here real quick. Now here, I would have caught a long out of the open, then flipped to short, hardly any loss there, and then a big, beautiful run. So see what I mean? It's like a Rubik's Cube, but it's fun. You can really get stuff dialed in, and you just gotta take the time. Then what I suggest, when you get something that you think is really dialed in, go forward test it a bit, and then make incremental adjustments there to get it to match. Ooh, look at that nice down move. The market's selling off a bit here. Let's go ahead and move this up. Sorry, I have stuff turning on automated here in the house. Okay, we'll blip that out. We'll call that good. So anyhow, the scalp dots trading is exceptionally powerful, and it's all about getting stuff dialed in so you can use the automated strategy. We have the AIQ strat that allows you to trade momentum burst trades. We call them mom signals. And the other week we upgraded the automated strategy so you can toggle on the ability to do scalp dots trading. And to get access to this system that's still currently, and it's been held all like for a long time at the $5.95 pricing for that particular program, let me go into drawing tools. And all of that, anything related to the Algo IQ program is all at that particular website. So you can see pricing and related. And then anything related to the pivot point program, whether you trade it manually or with our fully automated strategy, that's at proptradingindicators.com, or you can contact myself or my programmer at info@proptradingindicators.com. So there you have it. Have a fantastic day. And scalp dots trading, very powerful. So, and I'll continue to shoot more videos on the scalp dots trading approach. Have a great day, and talk to you all later.